You know that feeling, right? That sinking feeling when you spot a water stain on the ceiling or the drain just won't clear. But what if I told you that these things aren't just random bad luck? Nope, they're actually clues, symptoms of a much bigger fight your house is constantly in against, some hidden enemies you probably don't even know exist. So what do you think is the biggest threat out there? You might be thinking, okay, it's got to be storms, right? Or maybe pests, or just plain old age. And yeah, those are all big deals. But the most relentless threat, the one that works on your house 24/7, is something you see every single day but probably never give a second thought to.
That's right. Believe it or not, it might just be your address. Your home's biggest, most specific challenges are often decided by its location. Where it was built determines the unique set of environmental forces it has to stand up to, day in and day out.
So, to really get what I'm talking about, we're going to put on our detective hats. We're opening up a case file on a very specific place, Mount Juliet, Tennessee. And the story of the homes there, well, it's this fascinating look at how geology, water chemistry, and even local history all conspire against a house.
And here we have it, the three main culprits. In Mount Juliet, homes are basically in a three-front war with these antagonists: the soil under the foundation, the water running through the pipes, and history itself. Let's dig into that first one, the soil.
All right, first up, the ground your house is built on. Mount Juliet, like a lot of places, is built on what's called expansive clay soil. And that word expansive, yeah, that's the key. It means this ground is anything but solid and stable. It's constantly on the move.
Okay, so picture this soil like a giant sponge, but in super slow motion. When it dries out, it shrinks and can actually pull away from your foundation. But then, when it gets wet, it swells up with a massive amount of force. This endless cycle of shrinking and swelling puts a ton of stress on the rigid, unforgiving pipes buried underground. And all that pushing and pulling leads to one of the most awful problems a homeowner can face, a slab leak. As that ground shifts, it can literally bend, crack, or completely break the water lines running under your house. It's this silent, hidden leak that can cause unbelievable damage before you even have a clue it's happening. But the trouble doesn't stop there. That same shifting ground can create these little tiny cracks in your sewer lines. Now, trees are incredibly smart when it comes to finding water. Their roots will sense that moisture escaping and just hone in on it. They'll force their way into those tiny cracks, and then they grow and grow until suddenly you have a massive blockage. That beautiful tree in your yard just became a huge problem, all because of the ground it's planted in.
All right, so we've talked about the pressure from outside the pipes. Now let's look at the damage that's happening inside them. This brings us to our second antagonist, Middle Tennessee's super hard water.
I love this analogy. Hard water is basically cholesterol for your home's pipes. It's packed with minerals like calcium and magnesium, and over time, they build up this rock-hard deposit called scale. This scale just slowly and steadily makes the inside of your pipes narrower and narrower, choking off the water flow and putting a huge strain on your appliances.
And this is where it really hits you in the wallet. Just take a look at this chart. The manufacturer might say your water heater will last, say, 12 years. But in a place with seriously hard water like Mount Juliet, that lifespan gets cut way down.
You're lucky to get 7 to 10 years out of it. Why? Because that scale builds up on the heating element, forcing it to work harder and harder until it just gives up and fails. That's a perfect example of a hidden enemy, those invisible minerals, costing you thousands of dollars in an early replacement.
Okay, so our third and final bad guy isn't something you can touch or feel. It's not in the ground, it's not in the water, it's time. Or, more specifically, it's the legacy left behind by the massive housing boom that hit Mount Juliet back in the early 2000s. You see, back then, whole neighborhoods were popping up like crazy. And to keep up with that demand, builders often reached for materials that were, fast and easy to install, but maybe not built to last forever. Well, fast forward 20 years, and those very materials are now hitting the end of their lifespan all at the same time, creating this predictable wave of problems for a whole generation of homeowners.
So we've dug deep into the very specific issues in Mount Juliet. But what does all this mean for you, no matter where you live? Well, it means it's time to become a detective for your own house.
Because here's the thing. This isn't just a Tennessee story. Not at all. It doesn't matter if you live on sandy soil near the coast, in an area with really acidic water, or in a historic neighborhood built 100 years ago. Your home has its own unique environmental profile, its own set of hidden enemies. The principles are exactly the same.
So where do you even start? How do you build your own home's case file?
Well, it's actually easier than you think. Just start by asking these questions. You can look up your local soil type online. Your water company can tell you how hard your water is. And a little bit of digging into local history will tell you when your area was built. Answering these puts the power back in your hands.
And this really brings us to the big idea here. A house isn't just a static box of wood and nails. It's in a constant, active negotiation with the environment around it. And understanding that negotiation, knowing the soil, knowing the water, knowing the history, that is the absolute key to protecting your biggest investment. So I'll leave you with this. Do you know what your house is really up against?